Hi, hello, and welcome to yet another expat. This is episode 77, and here I am with a week of delay. It's the 23rd of November, 2025. I hope this episode finds you well, not too cold, not sick, and not with too many to-dos. On my end, life has been very busy. Last week I did not record because of having a sick baby, and in the middle of it all, we are moving apartments. So the very little free time that I have isn't always enough to record. If I'm honest, what happened last week is that I did have a 2-hour block. My lovely partner does take the baby and give me time and space for this podcast once a week. But what happened is that I went to the cinema. I went to see a film because I've missed this so much. And there are so many films I have on my list to see, and the list keeps getting bigger and bigger. This one I didn't want to lose, so I went to see Bugonia, the new film from Yorgos Lanthimos, the Greek director who's making movies in the last years with Emma Stone. I really enjoy his movies. They are always bizarre, weird, captivating, great photography, good shots. There is this weirdness that somehow becomes the norm, the point of view you need to adopt as a viewer watching the films. It messes a bit with your brain, and I appreciate that. So I saw Bugonia, great film. You should give it a watch. I won't share too much to not give it away. It has a few extreme scenes. It has some seconds of the film where you wish you were not seeing it, but once you're past it, once you heal from that experience, once you do take the full roller coaster of completing the movie, you will have enjoyed that you saw it. What I like about Lanthimos movies is that if you watch them at a theater, the moment you're out of the theater, people need to talk. They need to discuss what it is that they saw. And I find any film that has the power to do that, that you need to go out there and kind of talk about it, that's cool. I will only say one thing. There was news in Greece about a year ago that Lanthimos wanted to shoot a scene in the Parthenon, the Greek temple at the top of Acropolis. You know which one. And this conservative right government we have has a ministry of culture that in my eyes is much more like a ministry of going backwards, a ministry of Handmaid's Tale, who denied to let him shoot in the Parthenon. And also they did leak out in the press his request and what type of scene he wanted to shoot there, which was a horrible thing to do. Just to give you some context, a few months later, there was a commercial that was shot in the Acropolis because this is the type of things that are probably good instead of the director that won an Oscar and represents the country abroad. This is a big topic. I will not open it. Just keep in mind that Lanthimos managed to become a famous director not because of Greece, but despite of Greece. And in general, the public funding of films in Greece it's not as free as someone might thought in terms of productions, in terms of what gets sponsored and all of that. So anyway, what I want to say is having seen the movie now, I think it was a huge miss of not allowing him to shoot this few seconds scene in the Parthenon. I think it would have been a great part of the film. Another missed chance. Thank you very much, Lina Mendoni, for your ministry's work in the cultural degradation of Greece. But Bugonia is the film. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's difficult to watch at times, but definitely worth it. And I really enjoy going to the cinema. It's something I did a lot when I was younger. Now it's not so easy, and especially with the baby. But if you're in Berlin, there is the Yorkstra subscription where you can pay, I think, about 20 euros a month and have unlimited tickets for the movies. So if you're watching at least 3 films a month, then it's definitely worth it. I don't get to go so often to the movies, but Berlin has some beautiful cinemas from back in the day. Beautiful interiors and fabrics and the lights, they just look great. But here's one thing that I still find weird. You know, when you go to watch a movie, you see these commercials at the beginning, And one commercial that is still around is the one about the sound. They are advertising to you that the sound is good, that there is, I don't know, Dolby surround or Atmos sound or all of that. And I'm like, yeah, thank you for having surround music. I mean, it's a cinema. What am I expecting you to have? Just some speakers in the front, like it is a concert from my university times, and just blast the music all the way to the back? What are you bragging about? This isn't the 80s. You have added 10 speakers around the room. Thank you very much. Is this still something to be bragging about? To be showing off that you can have more than one sources of sound? Maybe it is, but I remember the same commercials from when I was 10 years old, just playing the sounds of rain or the hi-hat of some drums slowly making a percussion sound. And I just want to say, can we just get past it? Can we just all be, yeah, we get it. There is Dolby surround sound. We are grateful for it. We're celebrating it. Stop advertising it. It's not that big of a deal anymore. But as you can see, this episode is me rambling with different thoughts. There is very little news happening here. And this is one of those episodes. So I will just continue. Now, in other opening news, I need to tell you that we won the censorship that was going on, taking down my episode 75, talking about Trump and his dementia and IQ tests, is now back up. The false copyright claim that they did was disputed, and it's now resolved. I had to take a fight with the system and prove that I'm not an elephant. So that happened. Episode restored. If you didn't have a listen on that one, you can check it out. Episode 75, that was. Now, I don't know. When was the last time that you had to switch apartments? But I think the older you get, the more tricky it becomes. This looks like a George Carlin bit, but I think the amount of stuff just keeps piling up. But yeah, George Carlin, one of the greatest comedians of the past, not only for the humor, but also for the content, he was saying how everyone has their stuff, and they keep piling the stuff. And that's all your house is. Your house is a place to keep all your stuff. If you didn't have so much stuff, you wouldn't need a house. You could just walk around all the time. But a house is just a pile of stuff with a cover on it. You can see that when you're taking off in a plane, you look down and you see everybody's got a little pile of stuff. All those little piles of stuff. And when you leave your house, you have to lock it up. You wouldn't want somebody to come by and take some of your stuff. They always take the good stuff. They never bother with the crap you're saving. All they want is the shiny stuff. That's what your house is. A place to keep all your stuff while you go out and get more stuff. Sometimes you gotta move. You gotta get a bigger house. Why? Because you have no room for your stuff anymore. Did you ever notice when you go to somebody else's house, you never feel quite 100% at home? You know why? Because there is no room for your stuff. Somebody else's stuff is all over the place. And this was word by word a script by George Carlin. He has a big bit talking about stuff. But this is my life now, boxes and all the stuff that needs to be moved around. And I have to say, there is something satisfying in putting all of your stuff in boxes. I don't know if it's the OCD part of my brain, but just looking at the space get more empty and looking at more boxes sitting on the side, there is a very clear sense of completion happening. Because a lot of things we do in life, they don't really have a completion. You don't see them actually get complete. You might be working on a big project that takes for a long time, and then in the end it's not exactly out, or it needs to change, or you're trying to learn something new, or all of these types of things we do, they very rarely have a very clear sense of completion. That's why we end up getting joy from doing the dishes and cooking a meal, because you have the prep, you have the work, you have the result. And that is something the brain likes. So closing boxes and putting them on the side is definitely something my brain enjoys. And if I could even color code the boxes, have red boxes that for things that go in the living room and blue boxes for things that go in the bedroom and all of that, I just realized I would be even happier. But one thing we need to do is to buy a new bed and buy a mattress. And I find myself diving into this world of options. But this point I'm making is not about something I am buying, it's about something I'm not buying. Because the cookies have realized I'm looking for a bed and a mattress. And for some reason, they think that I'm rich. And they are advertising to me this mattress that's called 8 Sleep. 8, like the number 8. This is not a promotion. You can look this up. But this is a mattress that is connected to a computer. You need to have a computer next to your bed, basically, a device that is controlling a bunch of things. Because this mattress has a cooling and heating unit in it, like it can change temperature, but not only in one place. If you're sleeping with your partner, it could have different temperatures or different sides of the bed. It can also apparently change the shape, the price. The price is 5,000 euros. Dear cookies, I'm not there yet. I'm not in a place to be able to spend half a yearly Greek salary to get myself a mattress. The most infuriating thing, because I looked at the website, I saw the price. They have this very annoying pricing model that every fitness app, any wellness app, any sort of item you're buying comes with, that has a monthly subscription. I know I'm complaining like an old person. I still remember when you could buy Microsoft Windows and own them forever. Everything is now a subscription model. But anyway, you pay 5,000 for a bed, and then you need to pay subscription on top, which is something like 200 euros a year just to be having the functionality of the bed. So even if I was rich, even if I could pay 5,000 euros to get the bed, I would still have to keep paying hundreds of euros yearly to keep getting the data. So keep me out of this. 8 Sleep mattresses for you out there that are rich and love paying money. If you want the smartest mattress, there you go. And now the randomness meter will go even higher because I'm just reading through my notes. And here are 3 notes I will bring to you that one is even more random than the other. First one is that sometimes when I have to eat, we have to eat fruit. How many fruit do you eat? Do you eat a lot of fruit? Some people love fruit, other people don't eat fruit. But we should all be eating fruit. And for me, it's sometimes I have appetite for it, sometimes not. Sometimes I just do it to feel good of having eaten something healthy instead of having a different type of snack. So I do it more for the brain reward of doing something good for myself, not for the taste. And exactly because I need to trick my brain into having more fruits than I would just have snacks all the time if I could. I like to play these games. And sometimes when I eat fruit, I like to imagine that I am the luckiest monkey alive. I like to imagine that how would it be if I was in prehistoric times, still just a fruit eater, and then suddenly I have in my hands all these different fruit from the different sides of the world. I have apple, I have a banana, I don't know what else I have at home, a pear, and I'm thinking, wow, if I could show this to one of my ancestors back when we were more monkeys than people, he would be so excited. He would be like, holy shit, where did you find this type of fruit? I eat the same fruit all the time. And I would say, yeah, this is a fruit that was brought actually from Argentina. Like I have the power and the ability to gather fruits from all over the world and have a little stash of them just by going to the grocery market and paying a few euros. How mind-blowing is that if you put it in that perspective? Just how many exotic fruit we can have access to. So I connect with my primal monkey brain, and then instantly I become so excited for the fact that I have all this fruit and I can get to experience it on behalf of my ape ancestors. I feel extremely privileged, right? I bring this privileged thought comparing myself to my ape ancestor. It's like, hey, I don't have to go look for fruits from tree to tree. I have a stash over here in this corner of my house with fruits from the different continents of the world. And they're all in the prime condition. They're all nice and ripe and they don't have worms. And I can just eat 3 different fruits and call it a day. So this is how I bring gratefulness, and I trick my brain to be very happy about the modern world where I can have all these fruits gathered. So here's a thought to bring some gratitude to life the next time you're struggling with snacking and you have fruits available. Now, the second random thought is again on food. And I was having this conversation with a colleague at work. We were going for lunch. And he mentioned that in German and in Danish, the way to get kids to eat their food. No, before I go there, the topic was about eating and about, the babies don't need to be force fed. If you're shoving the spoons in your child's mouth, it's not the best way to start their relationship with food. It should be that they're curious to try, and if they're not curious, they should not be pushed, because the best way to establish a relationship with food and appetite is through their own curiosity and through their own exploration, not through an overly excited parent that is tricking them to open their mouth and then shoving in a spoon while making airplane sounds and turning it all into a spectacle, and in the end saying, thank you, you make me so proud, and doing all these false associations that eating food is a way to please your parent or to do your duty. So we were talking about that, like I was expressing how challenging it can be at times to have patience and not push the food inside the mouth, but leave the child to try and do it on its own. And sometimes babies are bored. They don't want to try. They want to play around and make everything a mess and all that. And he told me, now I'm getting to the point, how in Germany and in Denmark, they say, eat your food so you have a good weather tomorrow. And I find that very interesting. If you think about it throughout the history of time, the persuasive methods for children, especially on my side of, in my national neighborhood, in the Eastern European, it's always fear. It's like, eat your food or the boogeyman will get you. It's like, eat your food or something bad will happen. Because for kids, reason is not there yet so much. Or sometimes it takes more effort from the parents. It takes more time from the parents. So they go to the easy, to the shortcuts, to the easy methods. And one of them is fear. You can just say, yeah, if you don't hold my hand, the gypsies will steal you. That's something that they literally say in Greece. My dad actually used to say that if I don't study in school, I will have to be washing windshields and selling tissues at the traffic lights, as some kids were doing. In Greece, it's kids of Roma descent that do that. But I was in elementary school, and this is how the instruction towards my duty, to study was through fear. And coming back to what my Dane-German friend said, what they say there is, eat your food so it's a sunny day tomorrow. I find that good because it's not exactly fear, right? It doesn't say eat your food or you will die in a blizzard storm. It says, hey, if you eat your food, you might see the sun tomorrow. So this is a different way to incentivize. It's hope. Like, it's not going to make you feel guilt if you don't do it. It's not going to make you feel scared if you don't do it. It's just that if you do it, it's going to be an improvement. So maybe this is it's an interesting fundamental difference. And I don't know more country sayings to continue testing my theories about how to incentivize, but I would prefer to have been told as well that if I finish all my food, there will be nice weather tomorrow. And it also shows how ingrained in their DNA is the fact that their weather is shit. And lastly, on this one, I've mentioned this in one of the podcasts of the very beginning, I think, how my grandma would always say, when I was eating my food, that if I don't eat the last bite, then I lose all the power of the food. And she would literally say, this is your strength, this is your power. And I remember I pushed myself so much to eat those last bites, but I was getting frustrated. I thought, I worked so much to eat this food, and I'm gonna lose all the nutrients. I'm gonna lose all the good stuff it has to give me because I haven't eaten the last 2 bites. This is so unfair. I've worked for this. I need to get the gains of having eaten this food. So I would force myself to finish it to make sure that I fully complete and get the rewards, which is exactly the way I play video games now. I completely finish one room before I go on to the next. I complete closing all the boxes in the house move. And yeah, maybe this sense of completion I have now was hardwired in me from all these little moments of growing up and how others chose to explain you or teach you what you should be doing. What ways did they use, what reasoning, what logical, emotional dynamics they brought in to create a sense of purpose, a sense of accomplishment, the recognition, all of these things. And I'll stop at this point, but this is what you get when you're raising a child. All these questions pop in your head, all the right and wrong ways to do something. You go back to your own childhood so many times, re-looking into moments in how things were done. And of course, Instagram is there along the way to bombard you with gentle parenting. And gentle parenting is one type of material I'm getting, but I think that there should be something to counter it. And that would be gentle childing. And those would be videos designed to make me not feel annoyed at my own parents for not knowing all of these things because it was different times. But we can all assume everyone does the best that they can given the circumstances they're in. Now the last random thing, the third random thing, has to do with Facebook. I browse Facebook. I don't know why, but I do. I just press the blue icon and then I go a bit down, and Facebook is desperate to show content. It doesn't have content because people don't interact anymore. So it keeps expanding the things it proposes to me. It's been showing me content from people, from pages, from groups that I have no interest in, because I think now Facebook is going blindly. It's saying, hey, listen, we don't have anything more to show. Let's try in random directions. Maybe, I don't know, aquarium making, or people hunting for mushrooms, or people restoring wood, or I don't know. It's making these different attempts. And very often I stumble upon groups that are very bizarre. My latest finding is a page where people put photos from Google Maps, quite zoomed down, like it's, I don't know, you can see little trees and hills and all that. And they ask the people in that group to tell them if there is any gold buried in that photo. This is a real thing. So apparently there are some people that think through energies. They can detect where things are buried. And they even have some sticks. And it's a whole technique of how you hold these sticks, and you go physically in the space and you do things with the sticks around. And if you pick up some energies, then you follow them and all of that, which is already pretty entertaining and surreal that these people think that by holding these sticks, they can feel the energies. But this group is taking it all on the digital world. So it's saying, for all of you who can sense the rhabdoscopia, is the Greek term of the stick science that they are doing. And in this group, they claim that they can do the same on a photo. So it's one level of absurdity having a treasure hunter with sticks coming to your plot of land and doing the whole mumbo jumbo to feel the energy. But then the logical jump that someone who can do that, let's just accept someone can do that, okay? To then think that you can do it through your computer by just looking at a photo of Google Maps is so bizarre. So in this group, what happens is people put photos of Google Maps of some random cliffs or sides or forests or plots of land. And they say, hey group, what do you see here? What do you sense? And people in the comments are saying, I sense an energy of yellow on that spot. An energy of yellow, they mean gold. It took me some time to realize. Or someone else says, oh, I sense an energy that these things were taken. And this group has a lot of people. I thought it was a troll, but it's not a troll. And then in this group, in the comments, there are some users that for some reason are highly respected by others. So their opinion on whether they think somewhere in that photo there is a buried treasure is highly looked upon. And Greece was under the Ottoman occupation for 400 years, and there are stories in villages and places about some thieves, because there was war happening from the thieves in the mountains that were against the occupation and all of that, about golden coins that were buried, about local lords that were hiding their treasures. And there is a subset, a very small subset of people that are trying to follow folklore and old stories and legends and try and dig places. So I think all of them have gathered in this page, and they are sharing photos. And it's truly magnificent how the internet works. And I do think a lot of these people, after they show a photo and people say where they feel the energy, they just drive there and try to dig, or they must at some point. So that must be, I find it so laughable. And at the same time, I'm a little bit jealous of the adventurous life they must be living. They are just these treasure hunters that have the groups of mentalists of Facebook to gather all of their energies together and try to sense where gold might be buried. And then they pop on a truck and then they go there and they try to find the spot and dig, and they will never find anything, but just living your life with this excitement is something I find fascinating. Maybe I need to put a screenshot of my field of olives back in Greece to see if they... Because sometimes in the comments people disagree whether there's something or not, and sometimes people in the comments all can feel the energy, and that's when you're like, ooh, is this person going to find something? And then, of course, if anyone ever found anything, they're not going to share with a group or with someone in the internet, right? So you never, ever get to hear any good stories back. Most likely because they don't exist. But this was my latest finding for the Greek friends. This is a public group, by the way. And I think that Facebook served this group to normal people, because I saw the locals that are using it and putting the photos. And then a lot of new people in the comments are like, what the fuck is this? What are you all doing here? So I think that the algorithm made an effort to push more content out there, and this team got served. If you're Greek, it's called Ravdoskopia se aerofotografίες. Something like this. And it's an entertaining scroll to see these hopeful or hopeless people. You can decide. And with this, I'm going to let you go, and I'm let myself go as well. Go make some more boxes. What's next in my watch list is the new series from the Breaking Bad creator, Vince Gilligan. It's called Pluribus, or I don't know how it's called. But the Breaking Bad guy made a new series. It has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So this will be where I try to invest some of my free time of the future. Now, as always, thank you for tagging along in this podcast. I hope you had a good time. I hope you got some things done while you were listening, and that you found it interesting, entertaining, or at least tolerable. If not, you can always send it to your enemies, subscribe your grandma, and leave a comment so the algorithm gods are pleased and push this podcast forward and onwards until I can afford myself a 5,000 euro mattress to regulate my sleep, my temperature, my back, and my feelings. I don't know about the feelings part. Anyway, I'll go now. You do you. Have a lovely rest of the day, and see you next week. Ciao!